Hello guys, Chris here and welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm going to be testing a GeForce GTX 1080 Ti in Redfall. This one is the Gigabyte version of the card, triple fan edition with the white cooler. We're running it with the latest Nvidia drivers, of course, and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs right here in Tech Power-Up's GPU-Z. Again, it has those beautiful 11 gigabytes for such an old card. It's a good amount, you know. And also, we got some couple of new emojis in the channel for a channel member. This one was heavily requested. Finally, over on the left, we're pairing it with the Ryzen 7 5800X 3D and 32 gigabytes of RAM, CL14 3600 MHz DDR4 in dual channel, and this is at 100% because Steam is installing some games. Okay, so let's stop that. And it's not like it's broken or anything. Right? Let's go now, shall we? Alrighty, first of all, let's go over the settings. I'm playing at 1080p resolution first. Gonna lower the FOV a little bit because I felt like 110 was a little bit too much. And I'm using the epic settings here. Everything is maxed out. We're not using any upscalers at the moment. I'm also gonna test FSR and a little bit of XeSS. I feel like XeSS is actually superior in this game, by the way. First up, let's praise our dear boy Jack right here in the neon sign in our room. The developers knew somehow that I love cats. Anyway, let's start counting our FPS. Actually, who doesn't love cats, right? Okay, anyway, you can see that GPU utilization isn't really maxed out, but that's completely normal in Redfall. It's always gonna hover between 90 and 100% in GPU-bound scenarios, and whenever it is actually CPU-bound, it's gonna drop from 90%. So there's no problems right there. If I use some FSR, you will see that the FPS will go up by a little bit. Now, yes, we're back to Stutterfall, unfortunately. It still stutters a lot, even with 11 gigabytes of VRAM, and even if the VRAM isn't maxed out whatsoever, we're always gonna have these awful stutters. What did I throw there? Is that like a C4? Wait a second, can I pick it up again? I didn't want to do that. Oh boy, that stuttering is so unreal. The game, it runs on the Unreal Engine. So it makes a lot of sense that the stutters are unreal. And they're probably caused by the engine itself as well, because like 90% of the games that run on this engine have some stuttering issues. Ever since like 2015 or something like that, I've seen a ton of stuttering issues in Unreal Engine titles. And this one, well, it is no exception, and I don't expect the developers to actually fix the stuttering issues, unfortunately, because apparently it's a really hard thing to do, if a lot of developers still haven't managed to do that. What? How did that miss? Wait a second. Okay, that one I missed, okay, but the other one, I have no idea how I missed that. Anyway, let's go. Kill these guys. RoboJack, are you okay? What do you do? Oh, that's a vampire. Of course, they're still fighting RoboJack instead of the vampire, and the vampire hunts me down instead of the other guys. But I'm fine. It's okay. It's okay. NPCs will be NPCs, right? Goodbye, vampire. There we go. Now, is the game playable even with the stuttering issues? Yes, I will say that it can still be played, let's say that. I'm not gonna say enjoyable, because I really hate stuttering issues, as you guys probably know already. So it really puts me off. I just hate it completely, and I wouldn't really buy the game in this state because of the stuttering. Not sure about the story or anything. I'm not talking about that. People say that it's terrible as well in that regard, so you probably should avoid it. But again, I have only played a single mission, and then I just walked around looting things and killing vampires and seeing the FPS. Now, with those 88 or 87 FPS on average, I can say that the GTX 1080 Ti is doing a bit better of a job, I think, than the RTX 3060 in this game. If I remember correctly, this is being slightly faster, which makes sense since the game is based on the Unreal 4 engine, which is a little bit older, you know. So the 1080 Ti on older titles, it usually is a bit faster than the 3060. It's closer to the 3060 Ti, although doesn't really quite get there, you know. How did she die? I didn't even have to impale her. No. If it wasn't for those stuttering issues, I'd say that the game is semi-decently optimized, right? Because you'd get 87 FPS, you'd never drop from 60. By the way, now we're CPU bound with the 5800X3D in some cases. You can see it dropping into like the mid 80% usage on the GPU, aside from the stutterings, those don't count, of course. But yeah, 80% right there. It's crazy. This area right here, I've actually been to this area right here previously. And it drops tremendously. This is exactly why the consoles are capped to 30 frames per second. Ooh, can I drive that? Please? No? Probably needs fuel or something. I saw a lot of people talking about me getting 60 FPS or close to that with a GTX 1650. And the consoles being kept at 30, well, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right? Yeah, it doesn't, but it's all down to the CPU, guys. Those consoles have a weaker Zen 2-based CPU, which is very strong, actually. Usually it doesn't have any problems playing games at 60 FPS, but this game is an exception. It's just completely broken. I kind of hate it because of that, you know? Oh, the FOV is back to 110. What the hell just happened? I don't care. All right.
I know it.
What? What is happening? Okay, maybe we should just be faster here changing the settings. FSR2 is now set to quality. It's a little bit more shimmery, as you can see right there, for example. And there is a lot more noise noticeable in the image. DLSS definitely looks a little bit better than FSR does in this one. And now the GPU usage is very much down there. Look at that, 70%, even down to 50% at times, even without stuttering. So yeah, we are fully CPU bound when using upscalers with a GTX 1080 Ti and the Ryzen 7 5800X3D. Remember guys, the 5800X3D was one of the best gaming CPUs you could buy just a few months ago, before the 13 series came out and the Ryzen 7000. It's comparable in performance to an i9 12900K. Imagine paying like $600, whatever the i9 cost. I don't remember what it costed. But yeah, imagine paying that much money for a top-of-the-line CPU for it to bottleneck a 7-year-old card. Is it 7 years? No, 6-year-old card in a recent title in 2023. I mean, the 12900K and this CPU are, what, like a couple of years old? Not even that, you know? It's just freaking insane. I don't even know how the developers could release this game knowing that it performs so poorly on the CPU side of things. Like, I can't even imagine how the minimum specs would run this game if a 5800X3D is struggling this much. This is such a mess, guys. This is such a mess. You have the stutters, you have the CPU bottlenecks, inevitable CPU bottlenecks even with old GPUs. 2023 is such a terrible year for everything. Oh my god, man. Okay, anyways. Let's apply this. XeSS, yeah, it definitely does look a lot better than FSR2 in this game. So I think we will proceed with XeSS from now on. It might be slightly softer, the image, but it's super close to 1080p with TAA. Oh my god, are you serious? Wait a second. We are actually dropping to 58. We're dropping from 60 FPS in a CPU-bound scenario with a 5800X3D in a game that doesn't have ray tracing. Like, I get it if it drops from 60 FPS sometimes slightly in super intensive titles with huge open worlds and ray tracing enabled, because ray tracing is also super CPU intensive. It's not only GPU intensive. So yeah, in those cases, you would just disable RT and you'd be fine with hundreds of FPS. In this one, it doesn't even run ray tracing, and it drops from 60 FPS with a 5800X3D. Are you freaking kidding me? I don't know where the developers are living, maybe in Mars or something, but this is not acceptable here in Earth, okay? Also, not to mention that we're running epic settings and the shadows look like this. Like, these are epic shadows, guys. These are epic shadows. Yes, we're running the XeSS upscaler here, but I'm gonna turn that off. So this is native resolution. These are epic shadows at native resolution. Do I need to say anything else? This game is absolutely broken. What the f— Up to 2560 by 1440 now. So this is 1440p using no upscaling as at native. And alright, it's getting 60s. Very similar to what the 3060 gave us, I believe. Yeah, this is like the 1080 Ti still holds up really well, guys, as you can see. It's just that in these recent titles, as they are so freaking broken, I mean, this one even stutters like hell on my 4080 system. It's stupid. It's just that the recent titles are terribly optimized. You do not need an upgrade if you don't want to upgrade, of course, and if you're running a 1080 Ti, in my opinion, to play the actual good games. Okay, now that we're finally fully GPU bound at 1440p resolution, we're seeing some drops below 60 FPS mark, but you know, nothing that XeSS won't fix for us. What's wrong? Check. All good. What the f— Holy— Okay, did you do that? No, it didn't. Okay, I'm so confused. I don't even have ammo. And now it's dropping a lot from 60 FPS into the mid-50s. That's exactly what the 3060 did, right? I believe also at epic settings and 1440p resolution. Not sure though. Maybe it was on high. Now, of course, the RTX 3060 has DLSS support, also down into the 40s here, which is the better implementation of upscaling, you know, in games generally, but in this game, even that looks a little bit weird. It looks great in terms of sharpness and noise and stuff like that, but it has some artifacts in oh my god. Oh boy, oh, what is happening? Oh my god, it's dropping into the 20s! Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? It dropped into the 20s. This is pissing me off. What the hell? Oh my god. Okay, let's do XeSS on ultra quality, which might put us above 60 most of the time. Yeah, right here we got 55 or something like that. So yeah, we gained about like 5 FPS by using XeSS on ultra quality. Not really game changing, honestly, but it is a little bit smoother because right now we're mostly at 60 or above. As soon as you encounter a lot of vegetation, and I mean, this is not really a dense, super dense forest area, right? It's just some grass and some trees, but it does drop a lot near them. Holy. Alright, Jack, you do your thing. Please protect me while I change my settings, okay? That's why you're here for. I want to do quality XeSS. Okay, we went from 49 to 53 or 54 FPS. Still not good enough for 60. Oh god. You gotta be kidding me. Balanced. How does balanced look as well? Not too bad. Still not 60 though. Here's what I'm gonna do, guys. I'm gonna turn this off and try it on high settings. Okay, not low, high settings. Why did it think that I wanted low? I am not surprised whatsoever. All right. Okay, we're back here. 1440p, high settings preset. This is probably a little bit more accurate or adequate for a GTX 1080 Ti. Getting 70s. Bright skies right now. I like it very much. Way better looking during the day than during the night. I feel like they should have spent a little bit more time, you know, on the visuals. Not all, like, they should have spent a little bit more time on everything, I guess. Yeah, it's just so unimpressive. At least during the day, it's a little bit more vibrant and more beautiful, in my opinion. Anyways, around here, can we see an explosion? Bad thing of having good weapons only is that you can't really waste your ammo on things like this. Well, you can, but you won't have enough for the vampires later. Anyway, I really want to go to a bushy area or a forest area again because that's where it dropped the most. Ooh, look at that render distance, guys. Of high settings. High settings in the game has that terrible of a render distance? Are you kidding me? Okay, well, at least it's not really dropping too much right now. It's getting 70s consistently. I don't think it dropped from 60 aside from when it stutters, so you can have a great experience at the native resolution. This is where we ended it at night previously. Maybe at night it's more intensive. Now XeSS should give us slightly higher FPS. You know, maybe like 5 more frames or so, and it looks basically the same as native resolution. So I would probably enable it here, guys. Okay. Just to remember, if you have something period accurate to the GTX 1080 Ti, you know, like an i7-8700K, you will be CPU bound. You will probably see like 40 to 60 frames per second most of the time. It's crazy like that, this game. Super freaking broken. Anyway, basically, if you want the 1440p experience with a 1080 Ti, it is definitely very possible. Let's go up to 4K and wreck everything. Alright, gonna disable the upscaling for now, and we're at 2160p at the moment. Not gonna lie, that is pretty good for a GTX 1080 Ti on epic settings in a 2023 title, right? The bad thing is, it looks like a 2010 title. Moving on, gonna start counting the frames. I mean, if it did drop previously from 30 FPS when the vampires were attacking us with the red smoke and everything, it will inevitably drop once something like that happens here at 4K high settings, you know? Oh yeah, it's on high, not on epic. I think I said epic earlier. Still, very impressive performance for a 1080 Ti on high settings in 2023 title. Anyway, yeah, let's enable some XeSS now, see how it looks and how it performs at 4K. Ultra quality is not really needed at this res. I'm gonna go for a balanced. I think it's more balanced. We gotta check out the textures at 4K, because with the RTX 4080, that was on epic settings though, it was consuming like 13 or 14 gigabytes of VRAM at 4K epic. And this one only has 11, but yeah, not a problem. If this wasn't loaded in, it would mean that we were running out of VRAM, but it is loaded in, so we definitely aren't on high settings. Okay, so what to do next? It is playable like this, I guess, and if you're looking for a 4K experience, you might want to consider this one. High settings with balanced XeSS. It still looks very good, kind of like native res with TAA, honestly. Can't really see any shimmering or noise whatsoever. It's really impressive from XeSS, you know. FSR has been around for longer and it looks worse. Also, what the, I will never understand how they managed to break this game so much, or just to not finish. It's probably the investors' fault or something like that wanted the game to release earlier. Like, investors, you guys are just stupid. Imagine buying a smartphone that's like 50% bugs, you know. That doesn't really happen aside from like Google Pixel at times, but I know because I have one. Okay. Anyway, yeah, it's insane. It's insane. Stop pushing developers to release things earlier. It benefits nobody, basically. All right, guys. I think that's been it. Not many people will play at 4K anyways with the GTX 1080 Ti, I guess, these days. So thanks very much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. The 1080 Ti is definitely still alive. And yeah, see you soon. Love you all. Bye-bye.